Shalom friends, Aaron here. I'd say I'm making a quick video, but I always say that and I never really make a quick video. Just checking out our video analytics on our YouTube channel and seeing how many minutes of each video people watch. You know, it's like 5 or 6 minutes. It's hard for me to say what I have to say in such a short amount of time, but I'm about ready to go to bed. I was working on an estimate for a client, and yeah, I kind of got caught up, which I do once in a while. I pretty much ignore whatever suggestions YouTube gives me as far as video recommendations, channel recommendations. But one thing I will do occasionally is check out movie previews, and sometimes I don't know what you'd call it. Is it you can say TV anymore? I don't know. I mean, like there's Netflix shows and cable shows and network television shows. I don't know, but I'll check out previews for shows. Really, more than anything, just to kind of get an idea of what people are watching. Listen, you gotta take it seriously not to be consuming this stuff that they're pumping out there for us to consume. I just don't know what else to say. I know I've said it over and over again, and I guess I'll beat this dead horse until I'm gone. But Teresa put together an amazing post on our Foster Family and Faith Facebook page. Television patents. Just a wealth of information and links, and she even took time to copy and paste from an amazing article, some of the really key points, and she made some she did a great job of opening the door to understanding about why consuming television and media is so bad for us. And I just want to say that I'm not surprised, and so it wouldn't be fair to say that I'm blown away by it, but in some way it amazes me that as people, we allow our sensibilities to get so dulled. I watched two videos about upcoming movie trailers and movie previews, and I mean the amount of violence, disgusting behavior, scary, creepy, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's an old buzzword that doesn't mean anything to anybody anymore. But occultic, dark content, stuff messing with your mind. I mean, just one after the other, and I understand this. And then, well, to talk about the television shows or the Netflix shows or the cable shows, I mean, that stuff is just, I literally, just by watching previews once in a while to see what's out there and what people are actually taking in, I feel physically ill. And gosh, one of the first things I do is just pray God cleanse my mind to actually watch the shows and the movies. At this point, I can't imagine it anymore. However, I do understand that when we're in the middle of doing something, it's easy to be in the middle of it and not see it for what it is. And, it's like that in all sorts of things in life. You can be in the middle of a difficult situation, and, other people, sorry about that, other people, can't get that to stay straight. Other people can see that, they see some truth about the situation you're going through, and maybe have some advice for you. And retrospectively, when you look back, you say, well, that was really good advice. They really saw something I didn't see. And I guess the other thing I would say is, I've shared this a few times. Maybe Teresa and I have talked about it. We have shared that we have made drastic changes in our diet, and we just eat so totally differently. And consumption, whether it's stuff you're taking into your mouth to eat, consuming mind-altering things like alcohol, purposefully made to be like insanely addictive things like a lot of the foods that we eat, cigarettes, anything to satisfy our desires in excess, or consuming games, television, news. It's hard for us to see it for what it is while we're doing it. And when we had been on a journey for years working toward greater health, and when we really went all in a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, to where it was going to be like, we're absolutely going to, make sure we're drinking clean water. We're basically going to drink nothing else. We drink fermented drinks, some milk, clean milk, hopefully, but not a lot. We don't drink juices, don't drink soft drinks, don't drink any kind of sweet drinks at all. We're not doing processed foods pretty much at all. We're taking in way more fresh vegetables, shopping at our farmers markets, and we'll cut out the gluten. And I know, that's something that's a crazy idea to people. We're not celiac or anything, but we read an amazing book by Dr. William Davis called The Wheat Belly, and then from there launched into more research about wheat. And it's not like bread was such a bad thing, but it's so highly hybridized, and it's a very interesting organism. Wheat is collecting chromosomes as it's hybridized with essentially weeds, so that it can be more drought resistant and pest resistant and more prolific in its growth. And it's just not something that our bodies are really fully able to digest and deal with anymore, even though they recognize it as being a food that has some nourishment for us. And it causes all kinds of problems: leaky gut, inflammation, and having toxins that should be being processed in other ways leaking through your intestinal wall into your gut, and then having inflammation in your body, throughout your body systems. I mean, there is a myriad of problems that come along with that. And we had gotten very much used to just suffering through our problems. And, I think that people are generally really resilient, actually. We would be told otherwise, maybe we feel otherwise, but we're able to kind of deal with those things and get used to them, and then compensate for them in other ways. And we just don't know that we can be better, that we can feel better. For me, insomnia, like restless leg syndrome type symptoms, mouth sores, joint inflammation and pain, headaches, being somewhat overweight, not like super overweight, that was never a problem for me, but 30 pounds overweight or more. Overactive appetite, really. All kinds of issues that my allergies were terrible. Constant sinus problems, migraines sometimes. I'm not going to say that these things completely disappeared for a time. They kind of did. And then, I'm dealing with some of those things again a couple of years later, but on a much smaller scale, like almost non-existent. But we have other things going on in our environment, other things that really have an effect on our body's ability to be healthy. But I don't think those things are getting worse, not better. I shuddered, honestly, to think about where we would be as a family, where I would be personally, had we not made the changes that we've made. But the point I'm making was really ultimately about television and these movies. Until we stopped taking in all this added sugar, because everything's got added sugar, and everything's got gluten, and stopped consuming the gluten, we didn't know how much better things could be. We didn't even realize just how much we were dealing with. And in the same way, not even owning a television, not watching any TV shows, Netflix shows, and no longer watching movies. It was just like getting healthy with our diet, getting healthy with our mind's diet was also a process. And we've shared a little bit about that on the Facebook page and maybe a little bit on the YouTube channel. But now being outside of that, I read about what's going on in the news, a little bit, and Teresa does very little, and I share with her, but we don't watch these endless news cycles. It's propaganda. And the movies, when we watch television and movies, and even, stuff on our smartphones and our tablets, like it does something to us physiologically. Our metabolism slows down for hours. We're using so little energy, we actually use less energy than if we're laying down in a dark room, literally doing nothing. We're not critically thinking at all, and we just take in what we're being shown and accept it as truth. I mean, that is the technology. That's what it does. And while we're taking it in, we can't really see it clearly for what it is, and we can't see how much better things can be. Just like we can have a better diet, and then when we do that, we find out, wow, I didn't expect that I could feel this good. I didn't expect these positive changes. I had no idea how much stuff that I'm leaving behind, that I was dealing with physically. I'm telling you, the same is true when you just get off of the media, you get off of the television and the movies. It's an addiction. It's an addiction, and it's meant to be an addiction. And if you don't think that there's nefarious purposes for that, at the very least, somebody's trying to make money on you being addicted. And it has negative effects on you. I mean, I challenge you to try and see. I was talking to somebody recently, and she was saying, just talking about it, she's got to have her pop, her soda, and if she doesn't have it, like, watch out. And she wasn't joking. Like, she was dead serious. Oh, what if you can't have your TV shows, or your football games, or your movies, your superhero movies, or your Star Wars movies? Have you ever tried? I mean, literally unplug it. Literally get rid of your cable Netflix streaming service for a little while. You can get it again. And see what it's like. You're going to go through withdrawal symptoms probably. But if you get past that withdrawal, if you could prove it to yourself, I challenge you. Prove it to yourself that you could actually do it. Do something else. Hike, read, bike ride, draw, paint, write poetry, all of the above. Cook, work in a garden. Set that stuff aside and fill your time with something else. See if you can do it. I almost bet you can't. But if you could, if you can do it, you're going to see things differently. And it's the only way you're going to be able to do it. And I'm telling you, I really do believe that the time is soon coming. We really do believe it. Where it's just going to be so hard to unplug. Maybe impossible. I feel like time's running out. If you can't do it now, maybe you never will. And I really do believe it's going to be absolutely essential. Anyway, I'm going to get into sharing some things soon about what I believe about life. Now, we've made no, we're not trying to hide what we believe. We believe in a creator. We believe in the redemption of man through Christ, through Mashiach. But I don't think I believe what you think I believe about why we're here, what life is about, what the purpose is, and how we make it through. And I look forward to sharing those things with you, but I just wanted to make this video to talk about TV and give you a personal challenge. If you don't have a library card, get one. Start reading. Do something else. Did you have an art class in high school you took or in college? Start drawing, painting again. Did you ever write? Start writing. Do something else with your time. Don't just try to cut out the TV, but do it and fill that time with something else. I read that it's anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months to break addictions of all kinds, physical, mental. It's all psychological, really. But we can break our addictions, and once we get past that point of addiction, we can see clearly. While we're still addicted and still in our cravings, and television and movies are absolutely fit in that understanding of addiction. We can see clearly when we're outside of it. When we're in the middle of it, we can't. So I'm just challenging you. Prove it to yourself. Prove it to yourself. You don't have to do it for anybody else. Prove it to yourself. Can you do it? Can you do it? And if you can't, if it's really so hard you can't do it, doesn't that concern you at all? Aren't you bothered by that? I challenge you to give it a shot. See if you can actually stop for a little while. Give it 2 weeks at a bare minimum. Everything I've read, nobody went beyond 3 months. Any addiction, drugs, food, sexual activity that you shouldn't be involved in, you name it, anything. If you want to break that cycle of addiction, whatever it is, within 3 months you can do it. If you just stop doing it, you got to stop doing it. Use your time and energy to do something different, something positive. If you can do that for 3 months, I guarantee you're going to see life differently. You're going to see things differently, and you're going to start to be able to recognize these things that you're consuming now for what they really are. And it's not just entertainment. It's not just entertainment. I can't watch movie previews without literally being sick to my stomach. The same way I can't eat a brownie or a cake covered in sugary icing, even if it's gluten-free. If it's got too much sugar on it, I literally get physically sick. And I can't watch what you're watching. I can't do it anymore. And that's because we've left it aside. And we had our addictions. The thing is, our life has been different because of our family, because of our convictions, and the things kind of mixing together, our convictions and our place in life with the size of our family and the time that we didn't have and the things that we've chosen to do, like homeschool, and the time we've got to put into that. Those things combined have helped us to set aside those addictions a little at a time until we really broke them. And being free from it, it's amazing. It's amazing how different you think. Give it a shot. See if you can. I hope you do. Shalom, friends.